You start there with salt, something happens, and you can start tasting the onions a bit more and the sweetness out of them when you're adding a little bit of salt and pepper, and you can taste the garlic, you know what I mean? How do I manage to make food taste so good? Intuition, yeah? I have this really great intuition, and it's totally trainable too. Like, you can train someone to do this, you can help someone to do this, you can facilitate someone to do this, you can inspire someone to do this, all the words that you want to use. It is possible, 100%. I don't know, I always use salt as the building blocks of flavour. Salt pulls out the flavour in chocolate, salt pulls out the flavour I just made a coffee for you guys before, and I put a little bit of salt in it. I always put salt in the coffee so it brings out the flavour. You start there with salt, something happens, and you can start tasting the onions a bit more and the sweetness out of them when you're adding a little bit of salt and pepper, and you can taste the garlic, you know what I mean? Yeah, and then you start building. You can make a really bland soup, right? And then in other words, you can make a really great soup that's bland, and you add salt and pepper to it, something just builds, right? Because there's no salt in whole real food. We've got to add it to pull out the flavour. That's the gig. Man, the use of herbs and spices is the bomb. That's one thing that we've forgotten, and that's another thing too. So we'll buy something like some Thai basil or something. Like I picked this from the garden this morning, and we only need to use, say, this much. What do we do with that? That's another thing, right? That we've got to manage. I normally freeze my herbs so I can keep them longer in a vacuum sealed bag. But these herbs just manage to, I'm satiating thinking about it. They just manage to just give a bit of a kick and a bit of punch, like smack you in the face with flavour. Herbs do that. It's kind of like MSG, right? Same thing, but this is natural.